When self-made millionaire Ethan Marlowe walked into his mansion after a 12-hour day of back-to-back investor calls, factory inspections, and a tense board meeting that left his head pounding, he expected the usual: the quiet hum of the air conditioning, the faint aroma of the lavender diffuser his late wife used to love, maybe even the soft babbling of his 6-month-old son, Leo, playing with his toys in the nursery. But the moment he stepped into the kitchen, loosening his tie and stretching his neck, he froze like a statue carved out of shock itself, because right there, right at the center of the gleaming marble countertop, sat his chubby, giggling baby in a large stainless steel cooking pot, surrounded by colorful vegetables like carrots, tomatoes, and parsley, as if he had somehow wandered into a bizarre cooking show. And beside him, the nanny, Sarah, stood with her hands half raised, her face frozen in a mixture of panic, embarrassment, and the expression of someone mentally preparing to get fired on the spot. Ethan's heart dropped, not out of fear for Leo's safety, because the stove was off and the pot was cold, but because the sight was so outrageous, so unexpected, that for a second his brain could not compute what reality he had just walked into, his mind spinning with questions. Why was Leo in a pot? Why vegetables? Why was Sarah looking like she'd been caught smuggling diamonds? And why was Leo laughing as if sitting in a pot was the most joyful experience of his entire existence? Ethan rushed forward, scooping Leo out with such urgency that Leo squealed with delight, slapping his father's face with tiny hands, completely oblivious to the chaotic tension swirling in the room. "Sarah," Ethan said, trying to control his voice, What exactly is happening here?" And Sarah, bright red and trembling like a leaf in a storm, blurted out, "Mr. Marlowe, I swear this is not what it looks like." Which only made it sound even more suspicious, but before Ethan could jump to conclusions, she hurriedly explained that Leo had been restless the entire afternoon, refusing to nap, refusing every toy, every lullaby, every game, until he crawled toward the lower cabinet, pulled out a pot, and started banging on it with a wooden spoon, laughing louder than he had all week. And when Sarah set him inside the pot for just a moment so she could snap a cute photo to show Ethan how much progress Leo was making emotionally, the baby suddenly burst into unstoppable giggles, so pure, so healing, that she let him sit there for a minute while she arranged the vegetables around him like props for a silly, harmless picture, completely forgetting how unbelievably strange and shocking it would look to anyone walking in without context. Ethan, holding Leo close, slowly realized how innocent the situation truly was, and as Leo tugged on his father's collar and grinned at Sarah, Ethan felt the tension melting away, replaced by an unexpected wave of gratitude, because for the first time in a long while, his son was laughing, really laughing, the kind of belly laugh that babies only make when they feel completely safe, completely loved, completely happy. You see, ever since Ethan's wife, Claire, passed away unexpectedly the year before, the mansion had grown quieter, heavier, almost hollow, and Leo, still so young, seemed to sense the sadness in the air, often crying for reasons no one could pinpoint, needing constant comfort, constant reassurance, and Ethan, drowning in work and grief, struggled to give his son the emotional presence he needed. So seeing Leo this joyful, this carefree, filled Ethan with a deep, soft warmth he hadn't felt in months. "I'm not angry," Ethan finally said, gently bouncing Leo in his arms, "just surprised. Really, really surprised." And to his shock, Sarah burst into tears, not dramatic, loud tears, but the silent, fragile kind that come from relief, because she had been terrified he would misunderstand, or worse, think she didn't care about Leo's safety, when in reality she cared more than anything, pouring her whole heart into helping this little boy grow up surrounded by happiness, not grief. Ethan offered her a seat at the kitchen island, telling her to breathe, telling her she was doing far better than she gave herself credit for. And as Sarah wiped her tears, she told him how she had once been a child from a struggling household, how she often helped raise her younger siblings, how she learned early that laughter could heal wounds deeper than medicine, and how she promised herself that any child under her care would never feel alone. Ethan listened, truly listened, maybe for the first time, realizing just how much emotional labor she carried on her shoulders every single day. He thanked her, not politely, not casually, but with real sincerity. And Sarah blinked in surprise because no employer had ever thanked her like that. No employer had ever acknowledged her effort beyond a paycheck. Ethan then turned to Leo, tickling his belly, and Leo erupted into another round of giggles that echoed through the high-ceilinged kitchen, breaking through the emotional heaviness that had gripped the mansion ever since Claire's passing. Ethan couldn't remember the last time the house had sounded this alive. Leo kept reaching for Sarah, wanting her to join the fun, and Ethan, suddenly inspired, suggested they all sit together for dinner, something he normally didn't do with staff, but today felt different, more human, more connected, more warm. And as they sat around the kitchen island, eating simple food and sharing stories while Leo played with a soft spoon, Ethan found himself opening up about Claire, about the cracks in his heart he had been patching with work instead of healing properly, and Sarah listened. Kindly, compassionately, reassuring him that Leo didn't need a perfect father, just a present one. And in that moment, Ethan felt something shift inside him, something heavy lifting off his chest as if the universe had been waiting for him to simply breathe again. After dinner, Ethan placed Leo back next to the pot, not inside, this time giving the moment a safer, funnier twist, and snapped a picture that captured something rare: a father, a nanny, and a baby laughing together like a real little family. And so, what had started as a shocking, bizarre misunderstanding turned into a turning point, a moment Ethan didn't know he desperately needed. And if you are hearing this story right now, if it made you smile, if it moved your heart even a little, then make sure you subscribe to this channel, because stories like this, stories about love, healing, unexpected moments, and the power of simple human connection, are shared here every day, and your support helps us keep creating emotional, inspiring content that touches millions. So hit that subscribe button right now, turn on notifications, and join a community that believes in kindness, hope, and the magic hidden in life's most surprising moments.